today I want to teach about a concept that I like. It's a concept that I'm learning more about. Just a little bit about me. I teach 7 habits at a local university called Utah Valley University. And so I'm teaching a second block class of that, and it's moving really quickly. We started about a month ago and we're already like getting into finals and things like that. But this is a concept I feel is really important to anybody, but it's especially important as we're building these businesses and doing the things that we feel passionate about, as we're helping other people, as we're working with our own teams, right? Even within our families, with our children, with our coworkers. But I felt impressed to teach this specifically to building a doTERRA business, because so often as we're building these businesses, right, we have to reach out to people. We have to interact with other people. We have to do things that are uncomfortable. And a lot of times we let the excuse of other people get in our way, right? And so the excuse of, well, what are they going to think of me, right? Which comes from a place of fear. The excuse of, well, I'm not going to have any friends, right? Again, that comes from a place of fear. And what will they think of me? What will they say? What if they say no, right? And all of we ask ourselves those questions, and then eventually we get to a place where we don't do anything because we're allowing the fear to take over. And so I wanted to teach this concept because it helps us understand what we have control over and what we don't have control over. So the concept that I'm going to teach today has to do with our circle of concern and our circle of influence. And I'm going to share my screen and we're going to watch a video because I feel like it explains it way better than I ever could. And it comes from Stephen Covey's group, his group. That's all I can think of right now. So let me share my screen really fast and then we will watch.
As we go about our lives, we operate in 2 circles. The first is our circle of concern. These are things that we care about or may even affect us, but over which we have little or no control. The second is our circle of influence. These are things which we can control or influence. When people are reactive, they focus on the outer circle. They spend time and energy on things that they really can do nothing about. As a result, their circle of influence shrinks. When people are proactive, they focus on their inner circle of influence, where their efforts will make a positive difference in relationships and results. As a result, their circle of influence grows. Listen as Stephen shares an experience where one man increased his effectiveness by focusing on his inner circle of influence.
Okay, so I'm just going to pause right here. We're going to watch the rest of the video, but I wanted just to like specify, or I guess talk about the difference between the two. So our circle of concern, like she said, are things we're concerned about, but really we have no control over. So some examples of those are, right, the weather, right? Like right now it's rainy outside and it's cloudy and I can't as much as I can try and do some sort of dance to make it go away, but I just don't have control over that, right? We don't have control, and we're going to bring it into the doTERRA sphere, right? And building businesses. We don't have control over what other people say, right? Yes, we're concerned about what they say, but ultimately we don't have control over that. We don't have control over whether or not they purchase from us, right? Or sign up with us. We don't have control if you have builders on your team. We don't have control over whether or not they're actually going to do something, right? Or not do something. So these are all things that we do get concerned about. And oftentimes we'll focus so much on that circle, that we forget that there are things that we can control and that we're a part of, right? Or that we're in charge of and we're in control of. So, and if we're looking at the inside, right, the circle of influence, what do we have, like ultimately, what do we have control over? It's us, right? We have control over the way that we think and the way that we choose to think. We have control over the way that we feel, right? And the way that we choose to feel, the way that we act, the control over how we choose to respond. And this is a different concept that Stephen Covey teaches, but between a stimulus and a response, there's a space, right? And that's where we have the ability to respond, or the respond ability, right? Responsibility to choose how we're going to respond. People outside of us, right? When we go and we talk to people about, hey, I have this thing that I love, right? So much. Would you be open to seeing it, right? We have control over how many times we do that, but we don't have control over how many times people say no to us or yes to us. But we also have the power and the ability to choose how we're going to respond to those no's, right? Are we going to choose to respond in a positive way? Okay, they're not interested yet, right? Or are we going to choose to respond in a way where we make it about us? Oh, they hate us. Oh, I'm never going to be able to do this. Oh, like, this is so hard. We have all the power in how our business grows based on how we choose to respond to that circle of concern, right? How we choose to respond when people say no, or that they're busy, or they would love to come but can't, right? Please send me whatever, right? Or we're reaching out to somebody who just enrolled and they say, we're not interested in connecting with you, right? I had that happen, and I could have very easily made that about me, right? And I could have said, oh, it's my fault, I have to do something, right? All these things. But I chose instead to say, great, like, I don't have to spend a lot of time trying to contact her. I get to move on to people who want to connect with me, right? So we just have that. We always have a choice, and we always have the ability to respond in a way that works for us and empowers us.
This principle worked powerfully for one executive. His boss was creative, talented, capable, and brilliant, and everyone knew it. But he had a very dictatorial style of management.
So you take this position office. But with Insight Plus, we plan to add 8 new features.
No.
And
Adding, no, reducing. Take a seat.
The net effect was that he alienated almost the entire executive team surrounding him.
It's vital that we push a simpler design.
But one of the executives was proactive. He took the initiative. He anticipated. He empathized. This man focused on his own circle of influence.
Did you write in front of my team?
He did the same on Claire's meeting last Friday.
He was not blind to the president's weaknesses. Instead of criticizing them, he would compensate for them. He read with empathy the president's underlying concern.
Simplify for success.
Where the president was weak in his style, he tried to buffer his own people and make such weaknesses irrelevant. And he'd work with the president's strengths, his vision, talent, creativity. He anticipated the president's need.
Guys, I really need those reports for the meeting at 3 o'clock.
So when he presented information, he also gave his analysis and his recommendations based on that analysis.
So my idea.
Little by little, his circle of influence continued to expand to the extent that eventually no one made any significant moves in the organization without that man's involvement and approval, including the president. The president did not feel threatened because this man's strength complemented his strength and compensated for his weaknesses. So he had the strength of 2 people, a complementary team.
For example, I did discover that,
this man's success was not dependent on his circumstances. It was his chosen response to those circumstances, his focus on his circle of influence, that made all of the difference.
Okay. I'm going to stop share and I'm going to come back to you guys. Okay. So let me see I don't know that if anybody's on live or not, but let me just see if anybody is. It would be great, but that's okay. Okay. So no comments yet. Okay. So, I always get so excited when I watch this video. This is a video I share with my students actually. And, I just get so excited because of the change that came from this particular executive, right? Instead of joining in with the group and going along with what everybody said, he was proactive, which is a big part of the 7 habits. That's habit 1, be proactive, right? Instead of joining the group, he went against the grain, right? But as he did that, his circle of influence grew, right? And so the more we focus on our circle of influence, like the beginning of the video said, the more that grows and the more our circle of concern shrinks. And it's so interesting because we end up having more influence over the things that we can't really control, right? If you notice that. And that circle of concern gets smaller and smaller. And so it's not even, it becomes something that we're not even concerned about anymore, right? We're focused on what we can control. We're focused on what's in front of us and we're present in our lives. We're so often, when we're focused on the outside, we're disengaged, we're checked out, right? And we just become victims of our circumstances. Whereas if we are being proactive and focusing on our circle of influence, the things that we can change, the things we are in control of, we become very engaged and very present and very in control of our lives, which is really ultimately, I feel, what most people want. They want to feel like they're in control of their lives, like they're in control of their businesses. And that's one of these reasons I wanted to teach this today was because I wanted to teach it because I feel like it's important for you all to know and for me to relearn that we are the ones that are in control of our own businesses, right? We're in control of how many people we talk to. We're in control of how often we talk about doTERRA. We're in control of the things that we post, right? We're in control of all of that. And the more we focus on what we're in control of, the more that's going to expand and the bigger our business will be, which is really fun. So, and I also love one more thing I want to point out is that executive didn't tell anybody what he was doing. He just did it, right? Which is a part of being proactive, right? He didn't take time to go and talk to the CEO about, hey, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do, right? Or tell his coworkers what he was doing. He just did it. And the effect that he had, right? Stephen Covey talks about how eventually there weren't any big decisions that were made without him being involved, right? Like what a good result he created from being proactive and just doing the work, right? Being aware of other people, being empathetic, listening, right? Complimenting other people. And a lot of times we're doing these businesses by ourselves, right? But we can, and this is something that I've really had to work on, right? Like instead of waiting around for Mandy to hold our hands, right? I can go out and be proactive, right? I just need to do it. And if I mess up, and that's okay. But I'm not waiting on anybody. I'm not playing the victim, right? And this was a big reason for me to do this today, is because I have been waiting for Mandy and then getting frustrated. And of course it's not her fault. Like it has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with me. And so this morning I was laying down and I was like, just get up and do the video. So I just got up and I'm doing the video, right? And this is going to go on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to share it with the India team, right? We can't keep waiting for other people because they're in our circle of concern. We don't have control over them. We need to rely on ourselves. We need to do things one step at a time, right? Focus on what's next. What's the next step, right? What's the next step? And then what's the next step? And eventually we're going to start moving forward, right? And we're going to see things happen in our business, and in our lives as well. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for allowing me to get on and to share this with you. I'm getting excited and my laptop is moving a lot. But thank you for letting me share this with you. And I will be back because I have more videos to make. I have 5 lists of playlists. And so I'm going to be practicing lots and lots here. I do like doing Thursday mornings. So anyways, thank you for letting me join, letting me teach you, and I will see you guys later. Bye.